How's it going, YouTube? It's your boy, Top Cynics, coming at you with a bit of a deck profile, and then I wanted to talk about some theory crafting that I had with Invoked Eldlich, and thinking about what's going to happen now that we're in kind of a really harsh Scythe lock like kind of format, and with the Brave stuff going around, because we can't play Brave ourselves, we lock ourselves out of Alistair if we play right, and then Scythe lock is possible in Invoked in general. Invoked Eldlich I think it's also viable in, but you kind of have to play around it, or you have to like the hard open and now two of Fusion Destiny. So I wanted to talk about that a little later in the video. But for now, let's get into the deck profile, and we're just gonna start it off real quick, shoot it off. We have the triple Alistair, we have the triple Meltdown, the double invo and the terraforming. I feel like this is the standard invoked package. Uh, your 7 Alistairs, 2 invoked. Uh, Pretty much standard, right? So we play the double Eldlich. We play it as a 2 of. You 3 is for pretty much only for pure Eldlich. We haven't seen that in a while anyway. Uh, I played 2 Crystallin. I used to play 1. I don't think it's a really good card that you want to see more than 1 of. I think the card's great itself. You don't want to see 2 of it though. If you see 2 of it, it just kind of hurts. And I opened double Crystallin once during the regional, and it really it sucked. I lost the game. I lost that game. Um, and it was mostly because both Crystallins were pretty dead. We also have the triple Sanguine and the triple Conch. Those are your obvious engine cards. For our hand traps, I'm running triple Droll, triple Ash, and 2 Imperms. I am a budget player and do not have 3 Imperm yet. Still working on it. Still working on droplets, so droplets will not be in this profile. So one call by. We play triple Red Eyes Fusion. Um, Card is cracked. Dragoon is cracked. I personally think that the Dragoon package has better stopping power than DPE. As long as you don't get to the grind game, then you're pretty much able to still play. And because your Eldlich grind game typically goes your way anyway, having indestructible cards is and untargetable cards is great for that reason. We also play 3 Super Poly. Hard removal that they can't chain to is super important and necessary, and you'll see. And there's also why I'm running the triple strike and triple judgment. Cards that they cannot respond to unless they have counter traps are well, super probably you can't respond to anyway, but the counter traps anyway. Um, Very important. The idea that the idea of just stopping a chain link is super important. Because if you control the chain links, typically you control how the board presence is going to go, and if you can control the board presence, then between Eldlich and Invoked, you can typically outmaneuver your opponent. And then the last 3 cards are 3 Summon Limit. The deck should come to about 45 cards. And the matchups are pretty simple. I mean, I can go over them. The main deck is exactly the same. The side deck I changed for the new format, and I can go, and we'll go over it when we get there. The matchups are pretty simple though. Cyberdark in round 1, Cyber's Eldlich in round 2, my only loss. And then we played Sword Soul in round 3, and then we played Leerless Tri Brigade in round 4. Old format, so like Leerless Tri was at full power. We have Token, we have Artemis, Anaconda, Link Spider, and BLS. These are your 4 Link monsters in the deck. Artemis obviously for Alistair, Anaconda for Dragoon, Link, Spider for Eldlich, and BLS for Eldlich, because Eldlich is just free fodder for him. We have Starving Venom, Mundragon, and Elysium as your Super Poly targets. I always like to run a 1-to-1 for Super Polys, or more of. So But if your extra space doesn't have it, I try to at least run 1-for-1s, and Elysium kind of doubles as just like an invoke target. Thankfully, and then we have Starving Venom and Mud Dragon. I think they're the two most generic outside of Dragos Stapelia. But they're also the two like best, I think. Especially because Mud Dragon just turns Striker off if you maneuver around their stuff. We have Purgatrio, Agoides, Caliga, Magellantica, and Ragin, and then we have the two Makaba. These are all your invoked fusions. Pretty much one of every element except for water, because Cocoidus does not cut it. Just being untargetable itself isn't good. And then we have the Dragoon, because power card. Finally, we'll get to the side deck. And then I'll talk probably most about choices in the side deck, because this is what I've changed mostly. But I'll go over the list first, and then we'll talk about the choices. Just because I wanted this video to also have a bit of a discussion in it. So we have the 3 Token Collector, we have 2 DD Crow, I have 3 Cosmic Cyclone, 3 Dark Ruler No More, 3 Evenly Matched, and then 1 Red Reboot. So my hold on, I think I have the cards over here. Yeah. So my side deck previously, instead of having the DD Crows and a Token Collector, had Imperial Order and 2 Lancia. Um, so that was the only change that I had, and I have taken the Lancias out because I haven't really ran into PK too much, and I haven't ran into a spot where Lancia does more than Droll against PK. Making them waste resources with Droll is nice, and having that hand knowledge is good. Forcing them to lose an Enchantress is extremely good for me. And then just having the Lancia is just kind of a wasted card if they still get the DP Scythe anyway. So I like the Droll better, and because it's harder for them to get the DP Scythe. Um, I mean, it's hard for them to get to it through either hand trap. Droll just hits more things on top of that, and I think is a better main card at the moment. And then IO is just too good anyway. But obviously IO is banned, so we're moving away from those. I like the DD Crows because I was trying to counter Eldlich, and then it covers Strikers as well. Same with Cyclone, covers Eldlich and Striker, but it also hits Scythe, which is huge. And very necessary. Token collectors and sword souls are token collectors for sword souls and brave token, because those are the most prevalent two archetypes I've seen. It also covers a lot of other archetypes, mainly those, but then Prank Kids also sometimes summons their token, and then it turns off Nibiru completely. So little things like that are extremely nice. Dark Rulers, again, just because I see Sword Soul. If I didn't see Sword Soul as much, or if Sword Soul falls off, I think this might be the play to take out. But that for something else, like maybe Lancia is here, instead of Dark Rulers. It's just I also don't have droplets. If I had droplets, I'd put them in the main, and I would take the Solemn Judgments, or I take these out for Solemn Judgments, and then just side in the Solemn Judgments for going first. And then evenly because of back row and Eldlich, especially when especially when you go second in game 2, or if you win, because if they're going aside in their Lord of the Heavenly Prison, and this is when you're only ounce of that, and it forces them to have to burn back row or lose all their cards, and then red reboot for the same reason. Um, because red reboot can just win you the game, period. Like if they don't have a solemn judgment for that, then you just win the game. Uh, and then so to go over some other like small deck ideas, or ideas for the deck. So of course we had the Lancias that we talked about earlier. For side and or main, playing Ghost Ogre has come up a lot as a theory, because the idea is you hit the faithful, um, or the Dagda, and then in certain cases they can't continue depending on where you hit. So as long as you hit um, like Brave or like the archetype in the right spot, then this is very good. Or if it's like on your turn and if you're doing a play and Griffin's on the field, then you can hit Griffin with this and it doesn't negate. Similar to Appaloosa. Uh, Anti-spell was like a big one. Was a big thought. Because it's at 3 and you can't play IO anymore, the idea was that before you just played 1 IO to anti-spell, now you just basically play 3 to replace the idea. If Sky Striker and some other decks, like if Invoked becomes more prevalent, then I think this will become a lot better of a side deck choice. But for now, I don't think it's going to be. I think it's mostly just going to stay where it is right now. And then we'll see what happens with the future or with that new spell archetype, the like rune first person archetype. Now for like the way that we make DPE in Invoked, there's a few different ways that we can do it, but one of the main ways is to play Kage to Kage, um, and either Parallel Exceed or the Tenyi Spirits. Um, You can also play just Keeper of the Dragon Magic, and like any combo of these is kind of and like you put Alice in the end here. So like any combo of like a combination of these is going to net you to it. So the idea for Keeper is that you go normal summon Keeper, you go Chainlink 1 Keeper, discard this cost, Chainlink 2 Kage to special summon. So then it would special, you would search for Fusion Destiny. You can simply make these two in the DAG that activate Fusion Destiny, and you go from there. It's very simple, not a huge deal. Otherwise, we would say normal summon Alistair. So we'll just use this as Alistair for now. You normal Alistair, and you would activate the effect of Kage to Kage as Chainlink 2, similar to how you do for Tour Guide with Kage to Kage, or with Kagemucha Knight. So you go Alistair Chainlink 1, Kage to Kage Chainlink 2, special search. So you'd have your Invoked in hand, and then you would link this out for Salamangreat Almirage, pointing to like a zone that he doesn't point to. And then you would activate your Parallel Exceed, summon, and then summon a second one, which we will put here. And then you would simply make your Dagda here, and then you could link these two into Verte, and then you still have your Invocation to get Makaba out beforehand. And so that way, as long as you did this, but if as long as you did the Makaba at some point here, um, with Alistair in hand, or if you had a way to get to a light beforehand, like, because you have the Dag on the field. So typically, like, the idea comes down to, Alistair, Kage, Link, uh, summon, Parallel Exceed, summon here. You would make Dagda, here, and then you would activate your Invocation, and then you would chain link Dagda. So you would set Scythe, you would use the Dagda, and the Alistair Engraver to make Makaba, and then these two can make Verte. So then you have Makaba Verte Scythe. So that way you can play around Nib and stuff. Like you can a little more easily play around Nib. It's also an easy way to kind of make Appaloosa, and then set up an Appaloosa beforehand. You don't really have to play around Nib too much in this format, I believe. But yeah. Also, you can sort of, with that same idea, you can kind of replace like Parallel Exceed with like the Tenyi Spirit. So like you go Tenyi Spirit Special, Link 1. So you'd have an arrow pointing down, and then you can do Parallel Exceed effect, and then you can normal Alistair, effect search Alistair, um, go into Dagda here. I don't believe Dagda requires effect monsters. If so, you can make Link Spider. It's the same idea. And then you would link these two off into Verte, and then you would just activate Invo and do the same thing again. So it's pretty much just the same. Like as long as you have like Parallel Exceed plus like any starter card, you're pretty much able to get into Verte there. Or technically, you could play like Babushka, if you really wanted to. So it would let you get to like your fusion destinies and your scythe combos and whatnot. But yeah, I think there's only like a few other like side cards I would even just think about playing. A Pointer of the Red Lotus is one of them. Um, the idea of having that hand knowledge is extremely powerful, and a buddy of mine's been kind of putting me onto it, so I'm probably going to test that out at some point, and we'll go from there. But like for now, I'm still in testing phases. There's not a real science, I guess, to like what's going to be the best Invoked Eldlich version that I'm cooking up, and if I'm even going to stay on this, because I don't think you really play Eldlich with the Kage to Kage build, because you just clog too much on certain cards. It's way more monster heavy, and because of that, I was thinking about playing uh, more draw power or more like workarounds for Alistair, which was the whole reason why I was playing Keeper of the Dragon Magic. Because if you can somehow special Keeper of the Dragon Magic without using your normal summon effect, then you can play Keeper Scythelock with Brave Token in a fusion deck that would somehow still be able to play Link monsters on the same turn as well. So it's very, to me, it's very interesting, and because Keeper is a dragon effect monster, I was thinking about ways I could maybe use it to get Dragoon, DPE, and Brave on the field at the same time with a Scythe Lock. So it's very interesting, um, to say the least. Because it all depends on like what kind of fusion card. But then I have to supplement a Dark Magician card, so I'd have to somehow maybe implement Magician Souls into the build. But I don't have the money to pick those guys up at the moment. But it's all testing. Like DB is a thing, and that's totally viable. And I'll probably go over that. But anyway, guys, I think that's going to be the end for this video. If you liked it, please leave a like. Feel free to subscribe for more content. I'm going to try to keep up the Invoked content. I might switch over to Eldlich for just a while because I'm going to test that out, like pure Eldlich. Been really liking the fact that there's 3 skill drains, and I was thinking about even putting 3 skill drains in this at one point, just because new format. So again, like still testing. So you never know. Um, if you guys want, Flutter Mats for sale. And you can check out my TCG player sales down in the description below. A link to the July_TCG server will also be below. It's a server that I playtest in. It's a server that I hang out in a lot with friends, and we just kind of do a lot of testing and just playing around. We're all extremely toxic to each other, but in a fun, friendly way. So come check it out. Come look for a game. If you use the LFG tag in the looking for dual stuff, then you're more than likely going to find somebody to play, depending on the time of day and region you're in. We have people from Europe and America, so people are here from all over. Anyway, guys, again, sorry for rambling and repeating, but thanks for watching, and you have a good day.